or breathing. This is a part of respiration, or respiration means breaking down of biomolecules. Both types of answers we used to get. Now, number one, gaseous exchange. This is a part of breathing, and breathing is a part of respiration, or we can say this is the supply of the gas sources. This is exactly not what respiration is. But the point students used to give the answer is breaking down. Breaking down the organic molecules. This is correct. But this is partially correct or incomplete answer. Organic molecule, it's correct one. Obviously, it's exactly the initiation of this answer. What is respiration? It is the breaking down of the organic molecule. Or in organic molecules, examples are what? It can be carbs or proteins or fats. All these, it can be broken down. For what? What is the necessity of doing this? To release energy for cellular work. Now, this is very vital thing. What is cellular work? Obviously, we are going to discuss. First of all, we have to understand that breaking down of the organic molecule. Obviously, we will talk about a simple organic molecule. Just let's take one instance of glucose. Okay, so glucose is what? Glucose, we all know it's a carb molecule. It's a monosaccharide. Okay, now in short, I just want to share this. Let it be like in this way, in short. So this is a structure we all suppose there is one open chain. Okay, there's a 6 carbon molecule or hexose sugar. Now what happens? Whenever the respiration takes place, what happens? This glucose molecule, this monosaccharide, it used to get break down to release the energy. Now, what is the utility of the energy? Why the energy is so important? Okay, so I just want to remind a very simple thing. In thermodynamics, we have already come to know about that the energy can neither be produced nor be destroyed. So we can say that here we can see a flow of energy in our environment, and why the respiration is important. The respiration is important in the flow of the energy. How? Let me show you one thing. See, this is a plant. We all what they are autotrophs. What they can do? They are photoautotrophs. Now, with the help of the light energy, what they can do with the help of the light energy, they can produce the glucose. Or I can say that the light energy is somehow confined in the or modified in the version of the chemical energy inside the glucose molecule or the monosaccharide. Now, let me draw this in a very easy way. So what happens? This glucose molecule, when a herbivore is eating the plant, what will happen? It will be transferred into that animal. Okay, fine. Again, the herbivore is eaten by another carnivore. So the glucose is again transferred to that carnivore. In this way, the energy used to get. So in this way, the energy used to get flown down. That means the energy flows prevails in the environment. Now, actually, what is happening here? What is the role of the glucose here? Actually, this glucose is broken down to release the energy for the cellular work, and this process is known as respiration. Okay, so respiration is what? Respiration is a biochemical process. And what happens through the respiration? Respiration is a biochemical process. Through that, we can break down the organic molecule to produce the energy for the cellular work. Now, if I show you one thing, see the glucose. If it is broken down, so two things may happen. Okay, so the first one is what? The first one, we can say a little bit of heat energy is evolved here. And what happens? The second one is the chemical energy is released. Okay, so in this way, we can understand the energy is released. Now, first of all, what already I have mentioned a lot of time that cellular work. So how can we relate this? Actually, what happens is chemical energy which is released, it is going to be consumed for the cellular work. Okay, so what is cellular work? This is a vital question for A-level students. What is cellular work or how it is going to be utilized? Now, what is chemical energy? Chemical energy is the ATP molecule, or we can say this is the energy currency. Okay, energy currency means what? See, glucose is the storehouse of the energy. It can store the energy for the future, but energy currency is ATP. That means we can encash that in the form of ATP. Let it be I am an Indian and I have a lot of INR and I have shifted somehow into USA. So there, though I have my money, I cannot spend that. For that, what happens? I have to modify or I have to change the currency into US dollar. That time I can encash that, right? So the same thing happens here also. INR as we cannot use in USA, just like that here also we cannot use the glucose directly for the cellular work. For that, what we can do? We can do this thing, that is we can change this into the chemical energy form. We can produce the ATP molecule, and this ATP molecule is used for the cellular work. Now, what is cellular work? What are the cellular works? Why these are so important? Yes, these are highly important because all the cellular work means what? The anabolic reactions. We all know about the anabolic reactions. We already learned it in the 10th level, anabolic reaction. Okay, what type of anabolic reaction? Like we can say, and let me just change the color so it will be easy. We can say protein synthesis. In short, I am writing here protein synthesis, or we can write here DNA replication. Even in a cell, in a tissue, in an organism, whatever the work is there, which is needed, whatever the energy is needed, all for all this we need the chemical energy. Most of in this case we need the chemical energies. Examples are like muscle contractions, movement of the cilia. We know cilia is the plural form, the singular form is cilium, right? Okay, then the third form we can also see the bulk transport, endocytosis, exocytosis and all. So all these are highly important cellular work. So the complete idea of the cellular work is important. So obviously, as I have taught you about the respiration up to this much of time, so the first question comes in my students' mind that what is ATP? Why ma'am is talking continuously about the ATP? So okay, let me frame the question that what is ATP? Why should we talk so much about the ATP? Okay, ATP is the energy currency. Now, what is the full form of that? ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Here I have used the capital letters to make you understand that why the name is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Do you have to remember this name? Do you have to memorize this? Obviously, you have to. Okay, for your examination, obviously, you have to remember this. Now, what is this one? Adenosine triphosphate. It is a type of nucleotide. Now, please remember, we already learnt about the nucleotide, right? Nucleotide means what? Nucleotide means a nucleic as a sugar, a pentose sugar with a base, nitrogenous base and phosphate group, right? So here I'm going to show you how we can make this. In short, how can we represent it symbolically? Like, let me just draw a very easy one, a ribose sugar. Ribose sugar, we all know that this is a pentose sugar, right? So I am drawing here the ribose sugar. It's a pentagonal structure, we all know, and here the OH group is there. In case of deoxyribose, obviously remember this, oxygen will not be there. This is the reason we used to tell them deoxyribose. But that is the different thing. We are not going to talk about that right now. So this is a ribose sugar. We all know this is a pentose sugar. And here we are going to attach a purine ring. So purine ring means what? It's a double ring structure. We all know. So the purine ring, what is the name of this purine ring? Its name is adenine. Though it's a geometrical shape, but for the ease of my student, I have drawn two ring-like structure. And here we will attach phosphate groups. We cannot write here P. P means direct phosphorus. So we cannot write that. We obviously follow that we should write here Pi, that is the phosphate group is attached. So we can see adenosine triphosphate. Okay, three phosphate groups are there. So this is triphosphate and adenosine. This one is adenosine. This much is adenosine. Okay, this much is clear. Now a very simple question. If it is adenosine diphosphate, so what may happen? Obviously, one phosphate group is released, then it will be called as adenosine diphosphate. Adenosine diphosphate is also a topic of concern because many a times what happens, we will now we will discuss that how ATP is synthesized. So that time we can understand why adenosine diphosphate is also important. So already we talked about what is ATP. Now the next question comes, why this ATP is so important? Because already I have told that this is energy currency. This is important for the this is a way the body can generate the chemical energy. Fine. Okay. Now let me show you one very easy example. Like we all know that this is a sorry, this color. Let me take this. So this color, this is what? This is actually the lipid bilayer structure, right? We all know this structure, lipid bilayer, the phospholipid bilayer structure we can find in case of our cell membrane. Okay. Now, in short, I am trying to draw this that you can understand this is the cell membrane structure and this is cytoplasm. Okay. This is cytoplasm. This is outside. So inside of the cell and outside of the cell is quite clear. Now let me draw one simple cilia. We all know cilia. We know ciliary cells are present in our trachea. It helps to remove the mucus. So how the cilia moves? Already I have mentioned that the cilia needs energy, the chemical energy, which is produced by the ATP. Okay. So what will happen? See, ATP molecule, in short, I can write the ATP in this way that every student can understand how ma'am has written this. See, already I have shown you how adenosine looks like. But every time I am not going to use in this way. Now, what I have told that this is adenosine, this much is adenosine. So can I write directly the adenosine? I have written here adenosine with 3 phosphate groups. Okay, so I am writing here 3 phosphate groups, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, this is our ATP molecule actually. Okay, in short, here also I am mentioning this. So this is our ATP molecule. Now this ATP molecule, what will happen? This ATP molecule is going to give this energy. Okay, this energy to the base to move the cilia. The cilia is moving around because it is getting the energy from this ATP. Okay, so obviously the first question comes that how this ATP is getting the energy. The ATP is getting the energy because the glucose molecule is there. Okay, so the glucose molecule or the organic molecule which is present, it gives the energy. How does it give? Obviously, it's very important. Okay, whenever the glucose breaks down, obviously energy is produced, and obviously the energy currency, and already I have mentioned that the glucose energy which is produced, it is for energy storage. Glucose is a energy storage house. Okay, it can store the energy for the future use, but we can encash the energy in the form of ATP, then only the cilia can use it. Okay, this much is clear. Then the next question comes obviously, so how does the ATP provide energy to the cellular reaction? What is the method? The method is nothing else. It's a very easy one. Already I have shown that how to write the ATP. In this way we can write adenosine, then triphosphate because 3 phosphate groups are present now. So we can write in this way. Now this is somehow, okay, let me just rub it a little bit. Okay, so what will happen in this way? This ATP, this is ATP, we all know adenosine triphosphate. Now this ATP is hydrolyzed. There is a chemical reaction which is called as hydrolysis. And one enzyme is very, very important here whose name is ATPase. We all know in case of the enzyme, we already learnt it in a junior level or earlier years that ASE, whenever we attach ASE is at the as a suffix of the enzyme, we can break down the substrate. Here, the name of the enzyme is ATPase. That means it helps in the hydrolysis or breaking down of the ATP. Okay, so what happens after the hydrolysis? It is very easy one. The same thing, ADP. At the beginning only I have mentioned this. So adenosine diphosphate. So this is a phosphate group, there is another phosphate group, and that last phosphate group is somehow detached. Okay, in this way the energy is um, produced. Okay, now what actually we have understood here, that the ATP, it can hydrolyzed in form of ADP plus phosphate group. In this way we can write. Okay, so less energy this one obviously because the energy was stored in energy currency is ATP. Okay, so energy is released here. We can write like this. Energy is released. Why the energy is released? For the cellular work. One example right now I have shown you, that is the movement of the cilia or anything else like protein synthesis, DNA replication, anything. Now this ATP, ADP and phosphate, this again regenerate the ATP. Okay, but how? This process is somehow involved in the respiration. This is the reason the ATP is broken down, again regenerate. the energy flows in the environment, and this process is highly important. Obviously, now the question comes that, ma'am, you have written respiration. Respiration is breaking down the organic molecule for the production of the energy. So energy is produced from whom? Which molecule is important for this? Which biomolecule is responsible? Okay, we can write here glucose. So the glucose is already broken down. It's a hexose sugar. It's not only that the only glucose can be broken down. Fructose can be also broken down, right? I'm just giving one instance of a carb molecule, an organic molecule, which is broken down and the ATP is produced. Again, the ATP is hydrolyzed and ADP and phosphate group will be released. In this way, the energy is released. Again, the ADP through the process of respiration, it can generate the ATP. So all this we have told about the respiration. So already respiration looks like. Now I am going to tell a very basic thing of the respiration. That respiration can be of basically two types, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic respiration means so when the respiration takes place in with the help of the free molecular oxygen, and anaerobic is it is in the absence of the oxygen. Okay, now in aerobic respiration, we can see four steps are there, very important. The number one is glycolysis, then link reaction, then Krebs cycle, then electron transport and chemiosmosis. Now,